Hello everyone and welcome back to Bitwig Studio and Music Production. This is lesson 2.25, and in this lesson we're just going to walk through how you're going to set up your audio interface to interact with Bitwig in a way very traditional for DJs, meaning that we can have our one deck playing back, and in the second deck we could select a cue button down here so we could hear what's going on that track in our headphones without playing it back to the house immediately. So for example, we might be playing something back and then we're trying to find the next sort of clip that's going to work really well. We'd probably want to use cue for that and not just guess at random and hope that we found something that matches up pretty nicely. So let's just go ahead, jump in here and get started. You're not going to hear any output in this video because I don't want to confuse you. It's impossible for me to say, okay, here suddenly it's cueing in my headphones and it's going out of my speakers. It's not really going to make sense using the screen recording software, but I guarantee you this works. I just tested it out and I had absolutely no problems with it. So first and foremost, you need to have an audio interface that supports two different output channels, preferably two stereo output channels. So a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. So my Apogee Duet does that. It has two sets of independent outs, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. And I'm going to go into the software for my Duet and set things up right here. And you can already tell I have my speakers set to 1 and 2. I have those muted, but I don't have to. And then I have my headphones set here to 3 and 4. So that's exactly what I want. If this was on 1 and 2, I'd have to go in here, change it 3 and 4. You could do it the other way too. Really doesn't matter. I'm going to jump back into Bitwig Studio and go to my handy dandy preferences menu. And we can already see my output device is correct. It's showing the Duet USB, sample rate fine, buffer rate fine. And let's imagine that it came up and all it gave me was house speakers 1 and 2. Now I need to add my headphones, and to do that, all I'm going to do is click Add Headphones right here. I could click Add Stereo. It would be basically doing the same thing, but I know that I want headphones, so I'll click Add Headphones, and I'm going to call these Headphones Q. All right, Headphones has been selected here, and it's going out to 3 and 4, which is exactly what I want. Now what I'm going to do is open up my panel to show studio input outputs right down here in the very bottom right. So I've clicked it, we're open. And you can see we now have our two different outputs. We have our house speakers and our headphones cue, and we have a speaker icon to correspond to the speakers and a headphone icon to correspond with the headphones. That's the only reason why when you go to the option preferences, you can select headphones or speakers. If I chose speakers, the icon would change to a speaker, but really, as long as you set these up properly, it should all make sense. So if I wanted to be working and I wanted to hear my output, even if my speakers were turned off, I could select my headphone cue as well. And this is very handy when you're working inside of the software. So if you have a really complex setup and you have 5 or 6 different outputs, you can choose your main studio output in here. So if you are a mixing engineer or something and you have 5 or 6 different monitoring setups to work with, perfect, right? You can just go in here and select whichever one you're using. Really, really handy. And it doesn't require you to have to keep going into your preferences and choosing what you want to output to. Now, if we want to create our solo button and turn it into a cue button, all we have to do is select solo as cue and then choose what our cue preview output is going to be. By default, it has set it to the headphones for me. Wonderful, that's what I want to use, and you can even see it says headphones cue right here. So now if I was to click cue, I would be hearing just what's going on deck 2 in my headphones, and deck 1 would be playing out through the speakers. Just notice how when we're not in solo as cue mode, when I click solo here, my other track is going to go kind of white, or at least a lighter shade of gray, meaning that the only thing that can play out is this track. And that's not what I want. I want to make sure that when I'm clicking cue, I'm just hearing this channel through my headphones and the other channel is going out to the speakers. And really, that's all I wanted to cover in this video. I will catch you again in the next lesson where we'll talk about recording our set to the arrangement timeline. And then after that, we will be wrapping up and I will be giving you the challenge of performing something live. So thank you for watching this video, and I will catch you again in the next lesson.